This is a documentary at the Slam Dance Film Festival. It is Hotel Coolgardie.
The director of this documentary is with us. He is Pete Gleason. He's from Perth, or Perth?
Perth's good. Yeah, you got it right.
In Australia, and this hotel, the Hotel Coolgardie, is in Australia, and it's in a pretty kind of remote area, right?
Yeah, it's out in a mining area, about 350 miles inland from Perth. And
Why is there a hotel in this area?
Well, it's on a highway on the way to a main kind of mining centre, the country's biggest gold pit, and it's just kind of a stopover, and it's the last town before you turn off to go across the Nullarbor to the other nearest city, which is about 2,000 miles away.
Whoa!
So it's just a little
an outpost,
a little
kind of
town and a hotel.
Yeah. There's a lot of traffic goes by, but the town itself is fairly isolated.
Now, this synopsis we have says a pair of foreign female backpackers arrive to work in the town's only bar. So do they know what they're getting into when they...
They kind of do and they kind of don't. I mean, there's this thing in Australia where, just about any pub you go to, out in the outback, you're likely to be served your beer by a backpacker. Because people are travelling around Australia, they stop for 2 or 3 months, get some money in the bank, and they move on. And it's kind of this convenient transaction between the publicans.
Symbiotic.
Yeah, symbiotic. And so they go out searching for that, authentic outback experience.
Is it safe for them to do this?
Well, generally, I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But maybe not here?
Maybe not in this case.
Well, that's open to interpretation. I mean, it's an observational film, and I present their experience as they experienced it, and there are times when perhaps they don't feel safe.
Now, so how did you come about doing this story? This is a documentary. How did you find out about this hotel? How about these two backpackers? How did this all come about?
So I'd been out there working for a cousin, actually, who salvaged old mines or tore down old mines. Okay. And it was in this area, so we went to that pub. So we were on the drinking side of the bar, and it was a fairly raucous environment, and there were these great characters. So I always called, whenever I was passing through that area, I would call in and, got to know the publican and the place. And I noticed, there was always new, different bar girls there. And
of course you noticed that.
Yeah. And I was a single man at the time, and there was always this great anticipation when there was going to be a changeover. Because it was
fresh girls?
Fresh girls, that's right. But what I noticed was, depending on how well they adapted to the norms of the place, to the culture, to the sense of humour, to what the guys kind of threw out at them, depended upon how good a time they had. So then I became interested in where the point of compromise was there, whether there was an affable willingness.
Who would make it or who wouldn't?
Exactly. Yeah. And so in the film, we arrive at the pub with the girls. They've just been shown this dot on the map, and they're told that this is where we've got a job for you. And so they arrive, and there's some older girls leaving, and those girls are Welsh, and they've had a great time.
And
the town's embraced them.
Did they spend some time kind of explaining to them the culture, or did they just leave and say good luck?
A little bit. But the Welsh are going to naturally be able to duck and weave and navigate that kind of Aussie culture, because English is their first language. We have similar senses of humour. They got on really well with the locals. And the Finnish, as the guys just before you might have demonstrated, they have a different sense of humour.
Yeah, sure.
And English was their second or third language, and so they didn't adapt in the way the locals perhaps expected them to. And so all these kind of latent things beneath the surface of those expectations came out, and that's where it all goes kind of awry for these girls.
It's the Hotel Coolgardie, and in particular the pub in the Hotel Coolgardie. And Coolgardie. I said Coolgardie, and I didn't say Coolgardian. I said Coolgardie. And I got it. It says it right there. So why? So how long did you stay there with them and observe the development?
We were embedded for about embedded in a pub where we lived upstairs for about 8 weeks. I got there 2 weeks before. I'd been out and done some preliminary filming and got people used to the idea that we were making a documentary. And then the girls was, I'm kind of giving a little bit away here, but they were supposed to be out there for 3 months, and they last 6 weeks, and
they bugged out.
Things happen, and yes.
I think that doesn't matter that you give that away. What's important is to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And we needed to kind of get out of town fairly quickly too.
Wow,
At the end of
that
the
makes
day.
it even more interesting.
Do you somehow become a part? You and your crew somehow become a part of what happens at the Hotel Coolgardie?
Not in a big way. We're kind of there as a presence. You never see us or hear us, but there are like glances to camera as if we are part of the pub community, and we, what's people comment on about this film is that it's really fly on the wall. These people don't change their behaviour for the cameras whatsoever, really? And that's what's interesting is because we're considered part of that little microcosm.
So here's a question.
And all the behaviours are considered just so totally normal, and people are gobsmacked by those behaviours.
If your daughter came to you and said, "Dad, guess what? I'm going to go backpacking and I'm going to go work in a pub and
I'm going to go to Coolgardie.
I'm going to go to
Coolgardie.
Would you stop that from happening?
Be honest.
I would explain to them that they needn't stay if they didn't feel like they were comfortable there.
Well, really, what you should say is, "Didn't you see my film?
Yeah.
See, watch my movie first, daughter.
Watch this."
We've had a lot of people come up to us after screenings and say, "My daughter's in Australia and she's working in a pub. Is she okay?" And we have to reassure them that this is one experience.
It says it's a hard-hitting look. This is the Hotel Coolgardie, and the director is Pete Gleason. Sounds like you had a lot of fun doing this in a way.
It was exciting. There was fun times and there was tense times, and you had to keep your head about you, and you had to try and stay sober while you were filming in a pub. That's one of the occupational hazards.
Yeah. Are you welcome back at the Hotel Coolgardie?
I'm not sure, but maybe in time I will be.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
it's a slam dance film.
I should say it's under new management these days. It was filmed, a few years ago, and the management has changed.
So they may not know you.
Maybe not.
It's at Slam Dance. You can still see it as of this recording today at 3 p.m. and then Thursday the 26th at 2:30 p.m. All Slam Dance films are in the ballroom at the Treasure Mountain Inn.
It's Hotel Coolgardie. Pete Gleason, the director. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers.